Everyone I love is dead.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm fine. Everything is fine. Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about retro video games. Today, I'm talking about a game from a genre I rarely review on this channel, a JRPG. It's Suikoden. Suikoden was developed by Konami and released on the PlayStation in 1995 in Japan and the following year in North America. It was created, directed, and written by Yoshitaka Murayama, who set out to make a series that would rival Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. While Suikoden never quite reached the commercial success of those series, it did become a cult favorite and continued for 5 games in the main series and half a dozen spin-offs. The game is set in the seemingly peaceful Scarlet Moon Empire, ruled by Emperor Barbarossa. You play the son of one of the Empire's 5 great generals, someone who has lived a sheltered and privileged existence in the capital city. You've just come of age to join the Imperial Army. Along with your father's servants, Gremio, Cleo, and Pan, and your childhood friend Ted, you were sent around the kingdom to do the Emperor's bidding. A number of things happen to set off the events of the story. On your first mission, a seer tells you that you are destined for bigger things, and you will need to make painful decisions in the days to come. Standard hero stuff. On your second mission, you start discovering that things outside the capital are not as ideal as you assumed. Events come to a head when Ted uses an astoundingly powerful magic spell to save you from certain death. He possesses the Soul Eater rune, and the Emperor's court magician Windy will do anything to get her hands on it. When you refuse to hand it over, you and your friends are branded traitors and are forced to flee the capital. While on the run through smaller towns, it becomes increasingly obvious that the Empire is corrupt. The people are unhappy, suffering under the Emperor's rule. A small group has formed a liberation army, and you will end up its leader. Suikoden is a game about revolution, gathering a group of like-minded people who are all willing to fight and die to overcome their oppressors and create a more fair and prosperous future. When I learned that these were the themes, I almost came to regret naming the hero character Pooh. Suikoden is loosely based on the Chinese novel Water Margin, about an outlaw and his army of 108 companions. As you travel through the Empire, you'll meet all kinds of interesting characters, many of whom you can recruit to join your cause. 108 of them, to be precise. This is the big selling point of the game, building an army and outfitting the castle you've taken ownership of. You can tell when a character is recruitable because they'll look different than the generic NPCs. Many characters will join automatically after certain events, while others you just need to ask and they'll happily tag along. Some will have requirements you need to meet. The treasure hunter Lorelei will only join if you've reached a certain level. Tai-Ho, the fisherman and gambler, won't accompany you until you beat him in a game of chance. Blacksmith Mies will only acquiesce if you have his friend and fellow blacksmith Moss in the party when you talk to him. And Sarah the laundrywoman requires a series of dumb fetch quests that I refuse to do, so she didn't get to be part of my cool army. Guess I'll have to do my own laundry. If you recruit all the characters, you get a special ending, and some extra good things will happen to you. I did not get all 108, I think I got about 100. Many, but not all of the characters you recruit can be added to your party. I really like that the party size is 6. When it comes to JRPGs, I think the bigger the party size, the better. 6 is a much more engaging number than 3 or 4 and allows you to bring a lot more abilities into each fight. Combat is mostly a result of random battles, either on the overworld map or within dungeons. When you get into a fight, each character has the option to attack, defend, use a rune, which are the equivalent of magic, use an item, or unite, where 2 or more characters do a special attack together. Only certain combinations of characters can perform this action. In order to use runes, characters need to have them equipped. They come in varieties like water, which offers healing and support magic, fire, which focuses on attacks that hit all enemies, and less obvious things like bore or clone. Unfortunately, there are no descriptions of the runes or spells in the game itself, so you kinda just have to try them out to find out what they do. Spells have a limited amount of uses, which are refreshed by resting. There are no mana bars here. Mechanically, I found the combat to be a little on the basic side, but I really liked how it played out visually. After inputting the commands for all 6 characters, your allies and enemies will attack in order based on their speed stat. The round happens quite fast, attacks take place in quick succession, and the camera will occasionally zoom in to give you a better view of the action. If combat starts to feel a bit tedious, you do have a few options. You can attempt to run or let go, bribe the enemy with gold to leave you alone, or use the free will command, which makes each character auto-attack. This is a good idea in theory, however, your party does not know how to focus DPS. If you're fighting a larger group of enemies, each of your characters will attack a different target. Free will kinda makes me feel like I'm playing Overwatch. Everyone is attacking a different target and crowing about how they have gold damage, but nothing is dying. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Free will offers the prospect of getting through fights quicker, but is actually very inefficient. This is not the only type of combat, though. Since you're the leader of an army, a big part of the game is taking on each of the Emperor's generals. Major battles pit your troops against theirs, and play out like a fancy game of rock, paper, scissors. Archers defeat magic attacks, magic defeats infantry charge, and charge defeats archers. There are also some other orders you can give, like sending in a group of ninjas to determine the enemy's next attack so you can pick the best one yourself, or sending your merchants in to make some enemy troops come over to your side. Your army gets more powerful and resourceful as you recruit new characters. Eventually, you'll even get dragons. There are also duels. After an army battle, you can get into it one-on-one with its leader. This works similarly, with 3 commands to choose from. You need to guess what your opponent will be doing based on what they say to you each round, and choose the best action. I found these other 2 types of combat a little stressful at first. The first time I encountered them, nothing was really explained, and it had been a long time since the last save point. Luckily, I got through both successfully, and these battles became something I saw as a great gameplay addition. They helped to make me feel like I was the commander of an army, and not just a roving band of adventurers. The overall difficulty of the game is on the low side. While I did die a handful of times while exploring the world, I don't think I ever died in a dungeon or on a boss fight. Which is good, because there were rarely save points in the area. I never needed to grind in order to be strong enough for a fight, another positive for me. Just doing the combat that came with following the story, along with the extra exploration to find new recruits, was enough. And when I added new, low-level characters to my party, they gained experience at a rapid pace. It only took a couple fights for them to catch up to everyone else. While leveling new characters was a breeze, equipping them was a more arduous and expensive process. Keeping a handful of favorites well equipped is totally doable, but I did feel a little discouraged from trying out too many new characters because of the time and money it takes to equip them. A couple of the game's biggest weaknesses are the inventory system and how long it takes to get characters combat ready. Rather than having a party inventory, every character has their own. Each can carry up to 9 items and can only use things they are personally carrying. So, only characters with a medicine in their inventory can use it to heal in or out of combat. If there's an item you want to equip, or even just see if it's an upgrade, it needs to be given to that character first. To get everyone kitted out, you need to visit multiple vendors. A blacksmith for sharpening weapons and adding rune pieces, the clothing shop for armor and accessories, an oracle to equip a rune, and the hardware store to buy items like medicine or status effect cures. I spent more time than I would have liked visiting multiple shops and juggling inventory between characters before I embarked on every mission. My other major complaint is the lack of a map. You get access to travel from town to town through the overworld very early in the game, but there's nothing in your interface to tell you where you're going. You'll be told by someone what direction you need to head in to get to the next location. Once. But when it comes to getting to places you've been before, or if you save and come back to the game a week later and don't remember where you're going, you don't get much help. Okay, so there's no in-game map, but surely there's one in the manual? Well, sort of. This is the map in the manual. It has no markers or towns on it. Thanks, Konami. Finally, about 12 hours in, which was a little more than halfway through my game, I found someone who gave me a map. The map comes from a recruitable character who is in a location you don't have much reason to revisit and is very easy to miss. I found the way the map is handled rather inexcusable, but the game does do some other things with travel that I really like. A character named Vicky will teleport you from your castle to areas you visited before, and an item called the Blinking Rune will teleport you back to your castle from anywhere on the overworld map. This makes getting around very fast and convenient. The Blinking Rune is missable as well though. Had I gone the whole game without the map or ability to teleport, my opinion of it would be lowered significantly. These really should have been given to you as part of the story. There's also an item you can buy from shops called the Escape Talisman, which can teleport you out of most dungeons. It's always nice to have this option, rather than fighting your way back out. The thing that makes Suikoden special is the feeling of building something. It's great to get a base of operations that you can expand on and watch fill with characters. There are also a ton of little extras that make gameplay more interesting. Your castle is an island fortress that starts out abandoned and kind of dingy looking, but soon fills with people as well as every kind of provision you'll need. As you recruit characters who fill specific roles, you'll get item and weapon shops, a blacksmith, and an oracle. You'll also get a vault where you can store your excess inventory, and even a steam room that you can relax in and decorate with artifacts. Each character has an area they like to hang out in. The ninjas like the roof, while the more bougie characters enjoy a spot of tea in the terrace garden. Every area feels alive once you've done a lot of recruiting. Some characters allow you to make use of the collectibles you pick up during your adventures. Hugo will tend to your library and let you read the books you find, while Ivanov will make use of paints to create a mural for you. There are also items which let you adjust in-game sounds and the appearance of the dialogue windows. These things make it feel more rewarding to seek out each and every item chest in dungeons. If you ever need a break from your war effort, there are also a number of mini-games you can play with certain characters. There's a game of dice, a shell game, and one where you need to find matching cards. All of these are played for money, so they could make you a bundle, or in the case of me in the dice game, they could make you broke. I enjoyed learning about the characters who joined the Liberation Army, though to be honest, the sheer number of them was a bit overwhelming. I got to know and love the characters who had been with me since the beginning, and I picked out the ones that looked the coolest based on their sprites and portraits to try out in battle. But I'd estimate that half the available characters never got to be in my party at all. There are just so many, and equipping them takes a lot of time and gold. At the end of the game, you're treated to a very long epilogue that tells you what happened to each of the characters you recruited after the course of the game. I loved this, but without context, I didn't remember who everyone was. I found the writing in Suikoden quite charming and often surprisingly funny. One scene where your party has to create fake names to pass through an army checkpoint had me laughing out loud. And finding a character who was willing to join you but warned that all he was good at was cutting off heads also made me chuckle. I'm glad the game has some humor because at its heart, it's about loss, sacrifice, and making painful decisions. You'll have to decide if you want to let those who start off as enemies join you after you defeat them and they admit that something in the Empire is not right. Characters who are close to you will die. A number of them. Seeing people who have fought by your side sacrificing themselves for the greater good did put me through some emotional turmoil. One death got me real good and had me whispering, "No, no, no, no," when I could see it coming. The game struck a good balance between lighthearted dialogue and amusing scenarios with the more serious fight for liberation. Suikoden took me about 22 hours to finish, so it is on the shorter side for the genre, but that was fine by me. JRPGs have a habit of dragging on, but this one was concise, well-paced, and I never felt like it was wasting my time. To wrap things up, let's talk a little about how the game looks and sounds. It looks great. The pixel art is lovely, and the character designs are especially good. It's difficult to put over 100 characters that you're supposed to care about in a single game, but their designs are all unique. The environments are similarly well done and very detailed, especially those that take place in castles and grand estates. I particularly like the Emperor's Castle and how the floors are buffed to a mirror sheen that reflect your character. The soundtrack is good. Everything fits well with the locations and themes of the game, but few tracks really stuck with me. There are a couple exceptions though. Distant Mountain, which plays while you're exploring Mount Tigerwolf, is beautiful and whimsical. It blends Eastern and Celtic sounds together really well. The overworld map theme is also quite good and made me feel ready for adventure and seeing what lay ahead. I had a fantastic time with Suikoden. I went into it a little wary, unsure if a JRPG with no nostalgia attached to it could hold my interest, but I enjoyed every minute of it. I loved being able to recruit so many characters and watching my castle and army grow and develop. I became attached to quite a few of the characters and got kicked in the heart a few times because of it. But it's the variety in gameplay, the 3 different kinds of combat, all the collectibles and minigames, and the contrast of humor with political turmoil that made the game memorable for me. I highly recommend Suikoden, whether you're a fan of the genre or not. If you want to see the only other JRPG I've reviewed so far, check out my review of Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure, or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support what I'm doing here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.